It's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Thank you so much for joining us again. Our guest is Richard Alarcon. Richard is a member of the Los Angeles City Council, and you just reminded me that Los Angeles has the largest Japanese American community in the country, and so we're all thinking and praying about what's happening in Japan right now. Talk to us about that.
Well, first of all, the impact is direct to Los Angeles because of the families that relate there. We have over 1,400 Japanese-owned businesses, not counting Japanese-American-owned businesses
of course.
that many times have relationships with Japan. So we are going to be impacted by this.
And that's what I want to ask you, because through all the conversation, of course, we're very concerned about what's happening there. I would think that if their economy continues to suffer, and it has suffered already through the recession as a result of the earthquake, how could that not impact America, let alone the Pacific Rim, us?
No question. LA will be affected by the Japanese disaster, particularly with our economy. And as much as we are focused early on the humanitarian needs, recognizing, for example, on the way over here, my brother's best friend who owns a sushi store and was born in Japan told me he lost 3 of his cousins in the disaster so far, and sorry. 3 more are missing. Now, he was born in that community, and he wants us to help him connect with some of the aid over there. But over time, we have to do an assessment of how this is going to impact our economy, our trade, our tourism, and all of those other elements that will definitely have a negative impact on our economy.
Now, I know that you've been holding hearings about job development, job creation. My guess is when you plan these hearings, you didn't expect Japan to be on the top of the list as a result of the earthquake, but I know that it has been.
Well, tourism is always a concern. It is our number one trade. It's our number one industry. So it is clearly high on the agenda of my committee, the Jobs and Business Development Committee. But given this disaster, it was absolutely incumbent on us to take a hard look at how this is going to impact our economy.
So what's the answer? What have you learned from the hearings? Are there affirmative measures that you, the Council of American, take to try to minimize the economic impact of the earthquake in Japan vis-a-vis Los Angeles?
It's early on to define a strategy, but some of the things, if I could just read some of the statistics. Please. Japan is the 2nd largest trading partner of the Los Angeles Customs District, involved to and from Los Angeles trade of $48 billion. Business between Japan and Los Angeles also significant, with hundreds of businesses locations in banking, technology, law, fashion, etc. Over 1,000 Japanese students are educated in Los Angeles every year. So what we need to do is ensure that the port is preparing for how this is going to affect trade.
And you mentioned the port. Over the last few months, even year, port traffic finally has upticked, and we needed that so desperately. I mean, volume was up about 16%, which is great news. That's the LA port, Long Beach port even better. So what do we do to keep that momentum going if obviously less goods will be coming in from Japan?
Well, absolutely. 31% of foreign investment into Los Angeles comes from Japan. That is a significant amount of investment, and that will definitely be affected. So we have to figure out how we're going to address that, and we might have to develop federal strategies as well.
We also know that the city of Los Angeles has faced a budget deficit, and the city gets its money from sales tax, property tax. Well, if there are fewer goods coming in, I mean, right now it looks like our gap is over $400 million. Could it go even higher because of the earthquake?
There's no question that the earthquake tsunami could have a negative impact on the city's budget. That will be my primary interest looking at this. Secondarily, we want to look at how this will affect the region, but we also want to look at what government can do to respond, not just to the disaster in Japan for Japanese, but for Americans.
Okay, Richard Alarcon, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the work you're doing for the Japanese and Japanese Americans as well. My name is Brad Pomerance. Thank you for watching. Back to HLN.